British boomers will recognise this music as the theme tune to the BBC's Blue Peter children's programme, which went on to be the longest-running children's TV show in the world, having been broadcast since October 1958. In its early days, the show felt like you were going back to school again. Its target audience were more middle-class Scouts and Girl Guide types, which definitely wasn't me, with presenters speaking with BBC middle-class accents. It was only when Yorkshireman John Noakes was hired as a presenter that we heard anyone with a regional working-class accent. Although it wasn't a pop music show, Blue Peter would sometimes play host to 60s British pop boom acts such as the Hollies, the Searchers, and Freddie and the Dreamers. It was John Noakes who, having mentioned the appearance of the group Pinkerton's Assorted Colours on Blue Peter previously, who introduced another group with an unusual name. This group was called the Bonzo Dog Doo-Dah Band, and it was their debut on the British TV children's show in February 1966, performing Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey. It was the first time I saw Viv Stanshall. Being a teenager who had gone through the whole Beatlemania thing, I can't say I was particularly impressed by the Bonzos' rendition of the hackneyed old song I'd heard sung so many times on BBC light entertainment TV shows, only to hear it played yet again on a kids' TV show. Viv Stanshall and the Bonzos looked and sounded like kids' entertainers, and out of place when compared with other 60s pop groups who were lucky enough to get a plug on the BBC's flagship children's show. Imagine then my surprise upon hearing an American claim 54 years later that the Bonzos' lead singer, Viv Stanshall, who appeared on that BBC Blue Peter children's show, was actually Paul McCartney's replacement, because the real Paul McCartney was dead. I'm certain very few Americans actually saw Viv Stanshall's debut TV appearance, and most who now claim that Viv Stanshall was played by Paul McCartney's replacement had never heard of Viv Stanshall or the Bonzo Dog Doo-Dah Band before the publication of the Memoirs of Billy Shears, or the advent of YouTube and Facebook platforms. Having been a fan of the BBC comedy series It's a Square World, which ran from 1960 to 1964, I'm no stranger to the concept of the world being a different shape, thanks to its creator, British comedian and comic actor Michael Bentine. As a child, I loved Bentine's Square World. The belief in a flat Earth has a complex history, with roots in ancient cultures. The widespread belief in a flat Earth during medieval times is said to be an historical myth, but the theory has had a recent resurgence due to the internet and conspiracy theories. There are a handful of truther celebrities who believe in a flat Earth. Among the truther celebrities who believe in a flat Earth are also Paul is Dead conspiracists Mike Williams and Mark Devlin. In 2017, Joannanism Campanella, an American YouTuber among the Flat Earth content creators, appeared in a roundtable discussion with fellow leading Flat Earth celebrities David Weiss, Sophia Smallstorm and Mike Williams. However, after years of being a believer, Joanne Campanella had a change of heart following a sponsored trip to Antarctica. The American YouTuber Campanella was a member of the 2024 The Final Experiment expedition to Antarctica to test the validity of the modern Flat Earth beliefs. The expedition, which took 3 years of preparation, was organised by Will Duffy, an American Christian pastor who invited a total of 48 online content creators to Antarctica to witness the midnight sun, a natural phenomenon which contradicts most flat Earth beliefs. Long story short, Campanella acknowledged that his flat Earth model was no longer valid after witnessing the midnight sun firsthand, and said that he was going to step away from the flat Earth community. One could say he saw the light. However, the wider flat Earth community has largely denied the results of the expedition, claiming that the footage was filmed in a dome studio or on a green screen, and that the participants were part of a larger conspiracy to promote the globe model. Campanella said, "I honestly believe there was no 24-hour sun. I honestly now believe there is." As far as I am aware, the remaining 3 from that 2017 YouTube roundtable discussion still hold firm to their flat Earth beliefs, although some truthers are of the opinion that the flat Earth theory was created by the CIA to cause division within the truther movement. It certainly is a mad world. The Bonzos were the resident band on another children's TV show I love to watch, namely ITV's Tuesday tea time show, Do Not Adjust Your Set. The show took its name from the message frequently seen on the TV screen in those days that was displayed when there was a problem with transmission or technical difficulties. The show was something of a precursor to Monty Python's Flying Circus, and starred newcomers to TV Eric Idle, Terry Jones, Michael Palin, David Jason, and Denise Coffey. Apart from the Python-esque sketches, the Bonzos appeared in a regular slot on the show and performed their classic songs such as Love is a Cylindrical Piano and Hunting Tigers. The Do Not Adjust Your Set pilot show should have gone out on Boxing Day 1967, coinciding with the BBC's first showing of the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour. But the following week's episode went out instead, overran, and was abruptly cut off. The first season ran until March the 28th, 1968. The second season started airing on the 19th of February 1969, with the final episode being aired on the 14th of May 1969. What this all goes to say is that if Viv Stanshall really was Paul McCartney's replacement, as claimed by Memoirs fans, then I'd been watching him on TV on a regular basis from 1967 to 1969. Not only that, but we are led to believe that Billy, as they call him, had been taking time out from his role as a millionaire Beatle to appear as Viv Stanshall on a weekly Tea Time Kids TV show on commercial television. What with all the TV weekly appearances with the Bonzos as Viv Stanshall on a children's TV show, and not forgetting Viv's touring commitments with the Bonzos during 1968, including the British concerts and a performance at the London Palladium, and regular recording sessions for the BBC, it would mean that Viv Stanshall was impossibly busy playing the role of the Bonzos' lead singer and Paul McCartney, the emphasis being on impossible. There are several Beatle diaries who have documented what the Beatles were doing between the start of filming of the Magical Mystery Tour, in which the Bonzos performed Def Cab for Cutie, and the beginning of 1969, when the last episode of Do Not Adjust Your Set was filmed. So I won't bore you with all the details of all the many things that the Beatles and Viv Stanshall were doing during that time frame. just to prove that one person can't be in two places at once. But let's just look at what happened when Viv went on tour with Procol Harum in 1976. The British band Procol Harum, who are famous for their Summer of Love hit, A Whiter Shade of Pale, were promoting their Procol's 9th album. The tour ran from the 3rd of January to the 11th of January 1976, supported by Viv Stanshall's Vivarium, which was billed as Vivaria. The Procol Harum tour followed the pattern Vivian set when he played with Grimm's. He hit a peak around the 2nd or 3rd show, and by the time they played their last night in Oxford, the anxiety of performing, compounded by drink and Valium, were made worse by the emotional fallout of his split with his first wife Monica. At the same time Viv Stanshall was on tour supporting Procol Harum, Paul McCartney was in the studio with his band Wings, recording their Wings at the Speed of Sound album. Let's compare Viv's tour dates with McCartney's Abbey Road studio session dates. On the 5th of January, Procol Harum, with Viv Stanshall supporting them, played on the stage at the Guildhall, Portsmouth. While the song Must Do Something About It recording session was taking place at Abbey Road Studios, London. The two locations are 84 miles apart, which on today's roads would take 2 hours to drive. So it could be possible for McCartney to attend the London recording session and appear on stage as Viv Stanshall on the same day. Besides, Joe English sang the lead vocal on that particular song. Okay, so moving on, let's try the 7th of January. Where were Procol Harum and Viv Stanshall playing? Well, they were playing at the Town Hall, Middlesbrough, which is 240 miles and a 4-hour drive away from Abbey Road Studios, where Wings were recording She's My Baby, which features McCartney on lead vocals. Middlesbrough is 321 miles and over 5 hours away by car from Portsmouth, where Procol Harum and Viv Stanshall played on the 5th of January. No doubt both acts travelled north on the 6th of January to play the concert in Middlesbrough. Note the driving times are based on current UK roads and motorways, not the slower roads of 1976, when the Procol Harum and Viv Stanshall tour took place. Disaster struck at the gig in Birmingham on the 9th of January. Viv jumped off stage for a gag, not realising the venue had carpets. He tore a ligament and dislocated his left leg, which must have been pretty painful. But the show must go on, and on the 11th of January, the Procol Harum Viv Stanshall tour came to an end, with the final gig played at New Theatre, Oxford. All of which begs the question, would McCartney, or Billy, really go on tour as a support act to Procol Harum? Would he really travel from Portsmouth to Middlesbrough to appear as Viv Stanshall to a provincial audience in the middle of recording a new album? Viv Stanshall was found dead on the morning of the 6th of March 1995, aged 51, after an electrical fire had broken out as he slept in his top-floor flat at Muswell Hill, North London. His private funeral service was held at Golders Green Crematorium, North London, which ironically is directly opposite the Golders Green Jewish Cemetery. Call it poetic justice or karma, but it's the same Golders Green area, with a large Jewish population that Stanshall and fellow prankster Keith Moon drove through in an open-top Mercedes, wearing Nazi uniforms whilst making Hitler salutes. Keith Moon's ashes were scattered at the same Golders Green Crematorium 17 years earlier. While fans of the Memoirs of Billy Shears continue trying to convince others, using morphed imagery, that Paul McCartney's replacement was once Viv Stanshall, the Flat Earth truthers continue to hold conferences to discuss their Flat Earth theories and celebrate the movement's anniversaries. Mine is former Flat Earth YouTube content creator Duran Campanella, of course, who has since changed his mind about the shape of the Earth, and me, although I'm still a fan of the Michael Bentin Square World. Well done if you've watched my PID journey to this point. And thank you. This is one of its most bizarre phases, where two conspiracy theories converge, namely the Paul is dead and the Flat Earth conspiracy theories. The promoters of the Memoirs variety of the Paul is dead conspiracy would have us believe that not only was Paul McCartney's replacement played by Viv Stanshall, but he was also born on and inhabited a flat Earth.